Hi, Two-Tone. Yes. Hey, kid. As Two-Tone has just pointed out, the name of today's story is Belling the Cat. It is one of Aesop's fables, so you know there's going to be a moral, something to learn at the end of the story. I don't know if the story's about you. Shall we read on and find out? Okay, here we go. Belling the Cat. Be very, very quiet. The youngest mouse was trying very hard to be quiet. It was the middle of the night and long after her bedtime, but she was holding her mother's paw as they scurried along under the floorboards of the big house. This evening there was to be an important meeting of the Mouse Safety Committee, and the youngest mouse wasn't supposed to be there at all. But her mother and father were both members of the Mouse Safety Committee and couldn't find a babysitter. You know how it is. So the youngest mouse had to go to the meeting with them. Be very, very quiet, Mother had told her. So that was what the youngest mouse was doing, though she had to bite her tongue in the effort to stay silent. There was a swish as her tail whisked around a corner. Shh, said Mother, frowning down at her. The youngest mouse picked up her tail. Oh, long tails these mice have. Oh, there she is, picking up her tail. And carried it in her mouth to stop it from dragging, and pattered along to the meeting. I don't know if that sounds sanitary. I mean, I would not put my tail in my mouth. The mouse hall was in a space in the wall behind a fireplace, which made it nice and toasty warm. It was lit with leftover bits of candle. Nice, very romantic atmosphere for a meeting. And the head mouse, or the wisest whiskers, as he was called, stood behind a pebble that he used as a desk. Now, where is he? Oh, this must be the pebble. This must be the wisest whisker. And he's got a bell. Ah, let's see what that's about. Let's see here. The youngest mouse, who had never been to anything like this before, was about to say how exciting it was and dropped her tail, but then she remembered to be very quiet and stopped and put her tail in her mouth again to make sure she did not interrupt by accident. The grown-ups were not being quiet at all. They were chattering all around her, but they stopped as soon as the wisest whiskers rang a bell. It had dropped off a Christmas decoration many years ago. It was a signal to be quiet. The mice settled down to listen. The wisest whisker stood up, said a lot of things about welcoming them all to the meeting, and started his speech. "Field mice and house mice," he began. "We have called this meeting because all our mouse colonies are in the greatest danger. The people who live in this house have, I am sorry to tell you, bought a cat." No, not you. The youngest mouse was so shocked that she jumped, bit her tail by accident, and squeaked. But nobody noticed. All the other mice were squeaking and shaking. And the wisest whiskers had to ring the bell again to calm them all down. Mother took the youngest mouse's paw. "We must do something about this terrible situation," said the wisest whisker. "No mouse can gather crumbs in safety while a cat prowls the house. If a cat could be more like a dog..." Go back to tone, we're not done. "If a cat could be more like a dog, there would be no problem. We can hear a dog wherever it is in the house." Oh. Cats are quiet, secretive animals that creep up on a mouse spring to kill. The garden is no safer. The cat has been seen sniffing silently along the flower beds. We must take action. What are we going to do about this cat? Has anyone any suggestions? One mouse put up his paw and suggested that they frighten the cat away, but nobody could think of anything mice could do to scare a cat. Another suggested dropping a net on top of the cat and trapping it, but the wisest whisker said that the cat would only escape or yowl until the people came to let it out. Someone said that they could leave poisoned fish in the garden for it. But Another pointed out that they didn't know where they could get any fish, and somebody else said that they didn't know where to get any poison either, so that idea was dropped. Soon, everyone was putting up their paws and having bright ideas, and the wisest whisker once again, ding, 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 rang a bell. A grown-up mouse held up his paw. "Sir," he said, "everybody notices when you ring your bell, so if we put a bell on the cat, we would all be able to hear her coming." The youngest mouse frowned because she could see something wrong with this idea, but nobody else seemed to think there was a problem. Everybody was saying that it was a perfect solution and offering to find a bell and make a collar. Very shyly, the youngest mouse raised her paw. It's like a little paw. "Shh," whispered Mother. "I told you to be very quiet." The wisest Whiskers only smiled quietly. "That's all right," he said. "Let's hear what the youngest mouse wants to say. What have you to tell us, young mouse?" "Please, sir," said the youngest mouse, "we need to get the collar onto the cat. We need a mouse who'll go right up to her and put it round her neck." "Exactly," said the wisest Whiskers. "Do we have a volunteer?" Then everybody was very quiet. The end.
That was the end?
Yes. Thank you for sharing the moral of Aesop's fables with us, Tutone. I'm going to translate. Great ideas are easier said than done. I'm sorry, kid. Sorry. Tutone's a little upset because of all the talk about poisoning the cat and harming the cat in some way, but do not worry, it's just a story. No cats were actually poisoned or harmed in the creation of this fable. And that is your KidTime Storytime, kid. And remember, Aesop's fable, great ideas are easier said than done. They require ingenuity, creativity, and courage. See you next time. He said subscribe.